Hey everyone, welcome to the EMB Social Media Lounge. Thank you for joining us. Today we are going to be discussing just everything about fall and fall services. So come and join us. We're excited to share about this. We're all over the place here. We're all throughout the country here. So we're gonna just start by introducing ourselves. We'll start with Mike. Well, I guess I'll start with myself. I'm Jenneka, J&J Property Pros, and I'm from Dutchess County, New York. And I'm gonna pass the mic to Mike.
I'm Mike Arch. I'm with Arch Landscaping, and my socials are this old relic.
I'm Orion Rustin with law enforcement. We represent, or we service the areas of West Virginia, Maryland, and also Virginia.
Amazing. Last but not least.
Hey guys, I'm Nick Phillips with P&H Lawn Care, and I'm in Kingsport, Tennessee. It's the very northeast corner around Bristol, so that's my area.
Perfect. I think, again, if anyone has any questions during the time that we're here talking, please feel free to just shout out or ask any type of questions that you might have. But anyway, guys, where do we want to start with this? I guess Nick, Mike, Orion, who wants to take this away with fall services and what you do to just prepare for fall and even just going into winter? What you want to take it? Yeah, sure. Nick, let's hear it.
This is a season that I like to call, I got to clear the leaves off before I start mowing it season. So every yard you pull up to, it's kind of like a fall cleanup. Then you got to mow it. So the grass is still growing, but it kind of adds to it. So we're in a transition period. Orion's smiling, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. So.
Yeah, so obviously fall cleanup's extremely important. One thing that we like to do at our company is start doing some holiday decorations. We, especially with Halloween coming up, we do a couple of just some nice things in front of a lot of our commercial properties and things like that, pumpkins, and
So I don't actually do a lot of leaf cleanups because a lot of the trees have been decimated in my area by the emerald ash borer. We had a lot of ash trees, so they're small trees that you're dealing with most of the time. So what I'm doing with fall cleanups, I'm usually cutting down the perennials for next season, maybe doing mulch work, that kind of thing, working in the beds, getting those hedges and looking nice and pretty for the winter, so when they come in the spring, they all are nicely groomed and all that kind of stuff.
Amazing. I think for us too in the Northeast, it's definitely all the trees are dropping leaves. It's definitely a time of season where we're starting to just clear lawns and also doing cutback as well and just putting the beds to rest for the season. I also want to just kind of go back to the decorating, Orion. I think that's something that we've also done a little bit in our business as well, where we do some interior and exterior decorating. But I would love to hear a bit more about how you prep for that and how you even add that into contracts or how you promote that.
And you offer a pumpkin carving as part of
that. There you go. That's always a good question. So, Orion, if you don't mind taking that away a little bit more, just the process of that.
No, absolutely. So yeah, typically, for a fall display, obviously you have your hay bales and things like that. Again, your mums typically are what we like to do. Anything that we can to be able to incorporate the change of season. Again, anything that we can do for that. Hopefully that answers some of your questions.
I guess how do you incorporate that? How do you do contracts? Do you do how do you propose that to new clients or recurring clients?
Yeah, so typically we just include it in our contracts. We'll give them typically about 4 different holiday setups throughout the year. We'll do something in the spring, something in the summer, and then we'll do 2 in the fall. Or 1 in the fall, 1 in the winter.
Oh, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. And if you don't mind me getting more into the nitty gritty, how do you price that out? Because you said it's in contracts, but how do you even, because you have to purchase the decorations and materials, how do you include, and your time and labor for team, so how do you figure all of that out?
Yeah, typically it's just a flat rate per occurrence. So what we'll do is, let's say it's $500, we'll just split that up over 4 times per the year. And then we'll just do it that way. we'll reuse decorations. We'll make sure we store them properly, and then we'll just reuse them.
And how do you store them? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a huge process.
Storage units or
Yeah, so in our shop we usually take bins, totes, and just store things in there. Also with like our holiday lights, we'll mark everything down as far as these lights or this decoration goes to this property and that way.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Organization is key, right? That's amazing. Yeah. Now, for you, Nick, as well, do you also shut down beds and things like that? Or what do you do to even prep for winter for your equipment? And is fall kind of the time to do that? Or, I mean, you're in the South, so it does. It stays pretty warm. I know for me it gets cold, but in the Northeast it gets really cold. So,
What I'm finding out is the season's getting later and later. Like, I generally stay busy all the way up till Christmas. Like, the past few years, the day before Christmas Eve is my last day of the season. Then January and February, of course, nothing. And then the phone starts ringing at the end of February. But what I've discovered the past couple of years, used to spring cleanups was when you did all the trimming, but I started posting, doing it in the fall, like the hedge trimming, clean out the beds, all that. And whenever I started posting it, other customers were like, wait, I thought we just did that in the spring. So now it's kind of doubled to where I'm doing it in the fall, then doing it again in the spring. So I offer a fall cleanup, which is doing the beds and all that, and then the leaf cleanups kind of becomes your mowing. Does that make sense? So I have
compensates, right.
Right. So instead of mowing these weekly clients, I'm doing leaf cleanups for the weekly clients, and then doing the cleanups for odd jobs. I call it my honey-do list because all my little old ladies are like, honey, whenever you can, will you do this? So that's how it's been transitioning, and it's picked up more over the past couple of years. Used to it was mowing's over, leaf, season's done. And if you can branch out and offer these services, it keeps a solo operator hopping. So
that's amazing. Yeah. Mike, do you have anything to add to that too in your area? Do you feel like, again, so you were saying shutting down beds and things like that. Is there anything else that you do in terms of prepping during fall for even winter and other seasons as well?
So when I get into fall and I'm dealing with other seasons, one of the things that I've noticed that I can do long after, whether it's drought, whether it's just seasonally, everything is shut down as far as the grass isn't growing, I can always do pet waste pickup. So I put this in as part of my mowing services, that you can do pet waste pickup, and it doesn't matter. The dogs are always putting their waste down on the grass. It solves a lot of problems. The customer's usually more than happy to pay a little extra to do that. If you go out there weekly, it's going to be there. It doesn't matter if the grass is completely dead, that will be there. Right. So I'm trying
it's easier to pick up whenever the grass is dead.
No, so when I will actually be able to do like pet waste pickup as long as there's not really any snow on the ground or it's not cold enough that it's freezing to the ground. So I could carry that out until like Christmas, New Year's. So that's just one of those things that's year-round that helps bring in extra revenue. And the way that I price for that is if I'm mowing, they get a discount rate, and if I'm not mowing, they got to pay a couple extra bucks for it because I got to pay to drive out there just to do that. So that's kind of how I handle that particular thing. But it's just something that's always bringing in revenue, and and the customers won't stop me from doing it. As long as I'm willing to go out there, they're willing to have me out there doing it. And if I tell them I'm going to stop, they don't argue about it because it's usually pretty cold and like, yeah, nobody wants to do that. Or so. Did you have a question?
Is that a service y'all offer as well? Like YouTube?
We actually don't, but I feel like I was just gonna say it can be a lucrative service.
It solves a lot of problems for mowing as well.
It's something that someone will pay you to do.
Because you're making money to pick up the pet waste. Now you don't have to roll your tires through it later.
Right.
You start off with that, and then as you're mowing and weed whipping, you might miss a pile or two that you got to dodge when you're mowing. but then you can go back and just pick that up when you're
Right.
out there with the weed whip. So everything gets a lot cleaner, even than if you hire like just an exclusive pet waste service a lot of
Right.
times, because you're going over twice.
It's nice as an add-on.
Exactly,
Right.
and this is one of those things too. I recommend it, even if you don't want to do this service yourself, connect with a service that exclusively does pet waste,
Right.
and just kind of make a deal with them. Hey, I will promote you if you promote me,
Yeah.
and because there's issues on lawns that they have that we are the solution for.
Right.
So if they're on the customer's lawn, even if they're only hired for pet waste, they can go to the customer and say, hey, I noticed you got a lot of leaves. Why don't you call this guy up? He does leaf cleanups. And because that
a way
causes
to-
problems. And then you can be like, I noticed you got a lot of pet waste on your lawn, and I've been rolling through and stuff like that. I always recommend too, I didn't realize this, even though I offer the service, I still have a pet waste clause in my contracts.
Yeah.
Because there's certain customers that don't want it, and they're usually a mess. So that kind of entices them to get that service. But it's one of those things too that you can be like, hey, I noticed you have a lot of pet waste here. Why don't you call up this company and set something up, and they can pick it up for you weekly.
What do you do as far as removal from the property?
Do you
Do you
just-
keep it there? Like, do you just
How
back
do
it
you
up?
collect?
So the easiest way that I found, what's nice about this too, is that the Cadillac of equipment for this will run you about $60 for everything. So you find a rake, and you probably will go through a few rakes to find one that you like. Just a small rake of some kind. Most people will start with kids rakes that you can pick up at Lowe's or something like that. I've got a nice little fancy actual pet waste that will actually pick up the piles. You get one of those big dustpan bins, the commercial size from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever your hardware store is, and 13-gallon trash bags that fit really nicely in there, that line it really well. And I get a little 1-inch spring clamp and clip it to the top just so to keep the bag in place. And you can just use the rake it into the bucket, and then when you're done, you just take the clip off and tie it up.
Easy startup.
Yeah,
Right.
really easy startup, really cheap startup. Like I said, the equipment that you use on that is
Amazing.
cheap to buy, and to get the best of the best, it's really the
Amazing.
cheapest kind
I
of
think
equipment.
I was just saying, adding on to your add-ons, I think for us, we also like to add in doing bulb plantings, and we like to offer that. So for tulips, daffodils, alliums, we offer that to our clients as well. That fall is the time to do that. So yeah, again, piggybacking off of add-ons and what we do for fall for our business, that's what we do. We just, between decorating, again, bulbs and other things that you can just offer to your clients, it's always a beautiful thing. Again, if anyone has any questions, we're here. I don't know if you go ahead. Yeah.
I know this is fall cleanup talk, but we had such a discussion. This topic of waste removal is becoming a big thing,
It is.
and how mine started. And we all have contract. Well, I don't. It's not a service I offer in my contract, which I'm sure all y'all have, is a fine or a penalty fee for excessive pet waste if you're cutting the lawn.
It is a thing.
Well, whenever I sent out my contracts this year and put, if there's excessive pet waste, it will be a $25 fine. I had customers text me and say, hey, just start picking it up. And I was like, but I'm not.
That's an extra service.
And they're like, well, if you're going to charge me for me leaving it out there, just go ahead and clean it up. So I had $50 yards go to $75 yard. And so I, pun intended, I kind of stepped in it. But it's not fall, but that's a service that was a fee that actually spawned into a service.
I was just gonna say, and I think add-ons for sure in any time of the season, but yes, fall is a great time to add things because it's also starting your next season off. So it's just a great time also for planning your contracts out as you're starting to slow down. So yeah, fall is it's a wonderful time, not only for all the extra work, but just again a time for planning and getting yourself prepared even for the next season.
What's going to be on the contract come spring?
Exactly. Exactly. It's just a great time to rethink and refocus for the year ahead. Right.
You two have multiple crews. I know y'all do, and he does. How do y'all prepare that many different vehicles, that many different mowers, all that? How do y'all prepare for the winter?
Yeah. What are your tips and tricks in the fall for winter? Yeah.
Honestly, just trying to find the time to do it. I think that's the big thing. Finding the time to do it and make sure that you're taking care of your equipment and storing everything properly as best as you can, and getting anything that's broken fixed, so that way you're setting yourself up for success in the next season. I think that's the biggest thing, to be able to take that time out to do that.
Amazing. Mike, did you have anything to add for any of your equipment?
Well, getting into what I'm doing in the fall as far as equipment is concerned, I'm getting ready for the winter because I do snow plowing. So I have to get all the fluids changed in the plow. I have to make sure all my snow blowers are running. I have to make sure I can find all my shovels, that kind of thing. And I'm also preparing because sometimes you need to expand equipment as well. So do I need to purchase any new equipment? I might end up having to buy a tailgate salter this year if I have a customer that comes through, because my commercial properties are expanding this season. So there's a lot that I have to actually take into consideration, because all of a sudden that little push spreader, that little AgriFab push spreader is not going to do the job. Yeah.
Right. No, amazing.
Do you guys ever fully shut down? Do you two ever fully shut down for the winter?
Because you're in warmer, climates.
I mean, there's still stuff to be done in January. Is there a time that everything is put away and I'm going to wait till February 1st before it gets back out, or does something stay?
Right, I'd say same for us. Something's always happening, whether it's up again planning or still working, orchard pruning, things like that.
That's the thing, is last winter we had a really mild winter, so I wasn't doing a lot of snow work. But I was having people calling me to trim trees and trim their hedges and things like that in the middle of winter. Believe it or not, winter is sometimes the best time to do that because everything's dormant. So, it's still work that can be done even if the weather permits, I guess you can say. So that stuff really never gets put away. My snow shovels don't really even get put away. I use them as dustpans around the shop during the summer. So. There's really very, very little. I've had a snowblower in my shop all summer long just because I've been too lazy to put it in the shed. But everything just pretty much ends up being out all year round for the most part.
Are you two able? I've got one for you.
It's got the questions. Here you go.
Are you two able to keep all your employees year round? Are you able to keep them all, and how do you do that? Because looking to expand from a solo operator to actually have employees, how am I going to pay them in the off season? Can y'all help us little guys figure that out?
Yeah. Go ahead, Orion.
Yeah, so we have historically kept all of our employees for 12 months. I think again, budgeting goes a long way, and then also 12-month contracts. That's the majority of our work is mainly commercial. So what we do is we do 12-month contracts, whether that's an apartment complex or whether that's a large Amazon facility or something of that magnitude. We do 12-month contracts with everything. So that means even in the off season, we're still going out there picking up trash, making ourselves visible to that client, so that way they know that we are there. That's just how we do it. We just try to make sure we have 12-month contracts to be able to cover our costs. If it's slow, going back, we use the off season a lot of the time to fix a lot of equipment. I mean, everything, a lot, yeah.
Maintain everything. Yeah, same for us between contracts and also just providing winter work. Sometimes, again, for us in our area, it looks like orchard pruning, or sometimes we also do outdoor or interior painting and things like that. So we just continue to always try to find work to just to keep everyone busy and keep everyone employed.
So you transition your outdoor crews to indoor crews?
They sometimes do. So because we also do the cleaning, the pet care, and we have the landscaping, so that kind of also just helps as the add-ons.
Right.
But again, like Orion said, the contracts are just a beautiful thing to have, because then it's that constant payment throughout the season, and there's no lull in the season,
So
which can
do
be
y'all
tough in our
still
industry.
have weekly clients, or is it all 12 months? You see what I'm saying? Like, you still have weekly client that pay weekly, or have you went to a full?
Yeah, so the majority, when we do commercial contracts, which is mainly everything that we do, they pay once a month, typically. So it's like once a month flat rate. This is how much we're going to pay every month. Now, again, if we're doing commercial snow removal, we'll have a flat rate for, this is your monthly charge. Like, if this was, not snow or whatever, this is our monthly flat rate. Plus, we'll then surcharge them for snow removal as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so again, I think that just provides our clients with the benefit of knowing that we're going to be there and that we're taking ownership of this property, and we're going to continuously make sure it's up to par, up to our standard. But I love the multiple streams of income as far as like having the cleaning and everything, cross-training people.
Yeah, exactly. Well, guys, I think there's always more to talk about for fall cleanup and how you transition, and just all the add-ons and all of the things. There's so many multiple streams of income and things that you can prepare for in the fall to prepare yourself for future and for the new season to come. But again, I don't know if anyone has any questions. Anyone? All right. We have a taker here.
He's reading them off. We're gonna
Well, here we go.
got a list of questions.
I got lists of questions, but the main thing I got for you guys is, how do you guys choose what equipment that you guys want to use during the fall, and why?
I'll start, because that's easy. My trailer setup stays the same year round. The only thing I switch out, I have a 7910 and a 9010 blower. I'll put two 9010s in there, but the rest of it, it's just me. So my trailer is my toolbox, so mine stays the same. Now that's going to be, I know that's different for you guys, but
Again, great question. Thank you, Scott. I think for us, it's the PB 9010. The team loves to just go and grab that piece of equipment for especially leaf blowing. It just makes our job a lot easier, and leaf cleanups to go really smooth. So our team goes and grabs the PB 9010. We do love it. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll echo what everybody else said. No, but
For us, but
yeah, we use the PB 9010s as well.
You're just the workhorse, right?
We use them all the time. Again, if we're doing aerations or something like that, we'll use our Ventrac and just put the aerator on there. We'll take the mower deck off, and we'll just use the aerator, and that'll go with one crew. And again, that's a fall service or a spring service as well. So.
Well, I hate backpack blowers, so I don't use a PB 9010.
There you go.
I actually will use handheld blowers. I would prefer a rake to a blower, personally, because I can see everything in real time. It does take a little bit longer, but I think overall you're just going to do a better job with that. And it just makes things a lot easier. You got one tool that you can use for picking up the leaves if you're savvy enough, and cleaning up the leaves. And then I might go over it again with a little handheld blower once everything's said and done. But yeah, I prefer the old-fashioned way.
Sometimes the old-fashioned way is a good way. It depends on what type of client you have and what yard you're working in. So yeah, rakes are still a beautiful thing. Blowers for us, the backpack blowers just definitely make things easier. But anyway, guys, if there are any more questions, please come on up. We'll also be just hanging out in the Echoing's Business Social Media Lounge. Again, thank you all for joining us. Mike, Orion, Nick. Oh, all right. Here we go. Another question, please.
So how do you scale certain things into your fall cleanup? So if somebody just has like leaves, do you go ahead and try to upsell them for something else if you're going to go trim through? And do hedges and maybe deadheading the flowers and stuff like that. How do you incorporate that in when you're doing your estimate?
Good question. Does anyone want to start with that, or does anyone have it?
Start.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything? Yeah, go ahead, Orion.
Yeah, so again, all of our contracts have every service that we offer built into them. So that way, again, it's across the board. If we're taking ownership of this property, we're going to take ownership of it. That's just how I prefer to do things. Again, like a la carte situation. Again, when we were residential, mainly we would just start, approaching our clients and asking, hey, do you want this done? Or with email marketing and things of that such. So.
I don't have that luxury. Most of my customers are typically retired, and they're at a stage in their life where they know they can't do everything, but they still want to do something. So just trying to take ownership of the property like that wouldn't work for me. So literally what I would do is, I have a price. Okay, I have this type of flower or this type of shrub, and count the number. Each one of them's got a price to it, and count them up and say, okay, this is how much you're going to pay for this. If I'm dealing with mulch, it's per the cubic yard, so I measure it out. How many cubic yards of mulch do I need? And I got a flat price for that for per cubic yard. How much mulch is going to be? There are a few things, like if it goes over a certain amount, I'm going to have to get delivery, which the customer is going to pay for it. So, but yeah, that's ultimately how I take it. Is I just literally count the flowers. When it comes to shrubs, what size shrubs do they have? Small, medium, and large, and there's a price for small, medium, and large. So, yeah, it's just a matter of trying to get a set price for as the best way you can, because ultimately everything's going to be different, everything's going to grow differently, and then also understand that if you are dealing with a plant that's going to need a lot of special care, that you charge properly for that particular plant.
That's great. Nick, did you have anything to add, or yes? All right.
Well, you guys can actually tell me if I'm making a mistake on this, because whenever I started doing my contracts this year, I put a stipulation to it, like if my customer gets another competitor to do a service that I offer, I have the right to drop the customer. Now, I don't mean, and I've had to get into this more deeply with clients. So that means if I get my son to do the hedge trimming, you're going, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if P&H Lawn Care does your mowing and your leaf cleanup, and you get lawn enforcement to come do your hedges and your mulch, then I reserve the right to drop you, because they're seeing my trailer in front of your house every week. So, and they know your grass looks good. He puts the stripes in it, and then a competitor comes in and does the mulch job, and it looks like crap. So now everybody thinks P&H did that. So I'm like, if you're going to do one service with me, you're going to do all, because I want to be your one-stop shop. I don't want somebody else making me look bad. And y'all can tell me if I'm making a mistake by doing that, because I've been told I'm not a nice person for putting that in, but I'm just trying to protect my reputation.
No, I think it's always good to have your contracts to be clear and concise. So there's nothing wrong with that for our contracts as well, and probably for you too. You just want to make sure everything's written out and everything is clear. So if that's a service you're going to provide, you stick by that and stand by that, and that's so there's nothing wrong with that. So I agree. It's like have it clear, have it plain in your contract. And I think
so.
But yeah, I think that's
something you kind of do as well.
Right.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree. In my opinion.
Good.
Again, that's it.
Yeah. Did you wanted it out as well? Yeah, please, Mike.
Yeah, so I never did that particular thing, and the way that I've always approached it is, it's my customer's property, not mine. So they can hire whoever they want to do that job. When that other company comes in and they do the job and it's horrific, my customer then comes to me the next time that they need that job, or they're coming to me right after to fix the problem. So my customers learn very quickly that I'm who they want to work with, and not that other company. If they have a good company, it doesn't matter. It's not a problem. But otherwise, the customer is the one that's dealing with the problem more so that of hiring a bad company than I am.
Amazing. I don't know if anyone has anything else to add or any more questions. Yeah, come on up. All right.
So, what have y'all found to be your most successful way to get new clients? Or if you're like, say you're knocking doors and someone tells you they already have a service, what is your best way to get that customer on your schedule away from the other company?
Good question. Thank you so much. Amazing question, guys. Who wants to take it away? Yeah. All right, Mike. Back to you.
My attitude is I don't. If a customer is happy with the service that they have already, you don't want to go in there and mess that up for them. That's my personal opinion. They may go ahead, book with me, and think that they made a huge mistake by switching customers. So if they're happy with who they have, I just let them have who they have. And instead of competing against everybody in that way, I just try to find those new customers. I try to find the disgruntled customers that aren't getting good service, because they will let you know, and they're much easier to pull away from a existing service than it would be from somebody who is happy with their service. Because if they're happy with their service, they're happy with their service. I have a customer that owns multiple properties. I do snow for all of his properties, but his personal house, I don't mow. He's had the same guy mow his lawn since that guy was like probably your age. And he went into business for himself. And how old are you? 16, yeah, right around your age. And and now that guy's my age. So he's been many years. He's been very happy with what he's had. So that's one property I don't have. I don't try to force him or try to steal that property away from him. If for some reason he wants to change, he knows I'm there. But otherwise, I have done work on his personal property. I'm dealing with mulch and things like that. But that guy doesn't offer snow removal, so he hires me to do the snow removal on his personal property. He hires me to mow his rental properties. And then he hires him to do his actual lawn care. And that's just been my philosophy is, if they're happy with who they have, you don't want to pull them away from that, because they're happy with where they have. And then it just starts making you look bad, because you're trying to pull away a good business from them. Whereas if they're unhappy, they're going to let you know, and those are the customers you want to move in on. And there's certain things that you gotta want to look for in that to make sure that, and ask questions, because the problem might not be the company, the problem might be the customer. So you're going to want to make sure to ask certain questions to see, are they just complaining about nothing, or am I going to be providing the exact same thing to them, and they're going to complain about me next? So you want to kind of qualify that customer as well.
Yeah, so I think, again, it's good to always be marketing. I think it's smart to go out there and always talk to customers. If they have somebody and they're happy, sure. If they're not, then obviously offer your services. I would still, it doesn't hurt to say, hey, listen, I'm glad you're happy with who you have. Here's a card in case something changes. Maybe they go out of business. Maybe something else happens. Here's a card. Here's my information. Again, it's all about marketing. How much more can you push your name of your company out? And yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, no, agree. Go ahead.
I quit advertising mainly because I'm solo and I don't need to grow a whole lot more, but my main source of advertising is my trailer. I have an enclosed trailer with my logo on it and everything. But starting out, 16 years old, let's say you have 5 customers and you're wanting to grow that. My advice to you would be, take those 5 customers and do the most outstanding job you can do for those 5 customers. You're not going to have to advertise at all, because they're going to advertise for you. They're going to go out and say, he does an amazing job, he shows up on time every week, and that'll get you going. That'll get the ball rolling. And then as your business grows, then you can start advertising, that sort of thing. But word of mouth goes so far. That'll make you, but it can also break you. You do a bad job, they're going to talk. You do a great job, they'll whisper. Does that make sense?
I agree with you, Nick. I was just going to say for us too is a lot of word of mouth, and your work will speak for itself. So, yeah, that's definitely something to stand by.
So one of the things I can actually mention to you, and this is something that I occasionally will do, I'll put a flyer on a door or something when a house looks like this. You find that lawn with the really tall lawn, with the really tall grass, that's the door you knock on. They definitely are in need of immediate service. The question is whether or not they're going to jump on that, because after you knock on the door, one of two things is going to happen. They're going to pull their lawnmower out. They're going to, turn you away and pull their lawnmower out of the garage and mow it themselves, or because you just made them aware of how long their lawn is, or they're going to say, yeah, go ahead and mow my lawn. So, and then you can just kind of boost them up and see, because after that first time around, it becomes really easy to get that next customer, or get that next service after that. Yeah, after they see your work and how convenient it is to have you, then they want to have you again.
Amazing. Thank you so much. But what was your name? What was it? Wrigley? Amazing. Thank you for that question. That was amazing. Awesome. Does anyone else have any questions for us, or are we questioned out for today? You go to bed. Well, anyway, we appreciate you all stopping by. Thank you so much for the time you spent with us at the Echo Means Business Social Media Lounge. It was fun chatting about fall services and also other services and getting all the wonderful questions. So thank you all. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you around very soon. Thanks for joining us.